What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Italian Stallion, here for another episode of Rebels with a Cause. New night, same cause, baby. My co-host, two-pair Tate, Brian Tate, should be joining me here in a little bit, but it's a new night, guys. Same cause, though, as I said before. Hope we have a good chat tonight. That comment box is open. I want y'all to bring the heat. What's going on with your thoughts and sports going on? Got some NBA playoffs, got some NHL hockey, college baseball. It's transfer portal, man. It's just crazy right now. And obviously we got our Rebels with the spring football. So definitely, though, we need to bring that heat tonight and so forth. As you know, I am your boy, the Italian Stallion. And first and foremost, I always want to let it be known that the views and opinions of this program are not affiliated with those of any other organization or of West High School. These are truly the opinions of myself and two-pair Tate, Brian Tate. So always want to get that out of the way, and nothing but love for the rest Rebels. Got some scores of interest for the spring sports tonight as well, how they've been doing. West Soccer kind of turning it around, so talk about them a little bit. Baseball team got a big win against Billy Blunt last night, so got a couple more games tomorrow and Friday to complete the week as things just kind of start winding down. So, but want to give a shout out to some of our sponsors. My gal, Kim Castle, over at the Chamber, King's Chamber, over there on Washington Pike. She's getting close to getting set up to give all those services, the pedicures, the manicures. But right now she's able to do the facials and the beard trims and the haircut. She always makes your boy, the Italian Stallion, at least presentable. So you all aren't scared watching this, looking at my face. But no, she's awesome. She's the real deal. Give her a call. She'll take care of you. And look at her VIP packages once that opens up, the Joker, the King, and the Ace, different VIP packages with the services. And it's all good for a guy to be nice and prep for their lady and so forth. So definitely check that out. Also want to give a shout out to my boy Alex Thatcher over at the Knoxville Coffee Company, off of there on Sutherland Avenue in the heart of Marble City. Him and his dad, they make a good brew over there, and it's good anytime. So hit him up. Get you some coffee, and you can have it at whenever you want. Brew it at the house, brew it at the job. It's good stuff. So that's Knoxville Coffee Company there inside of Marble City off of Sutherland Avenue. So, but that being said, I'm hoping that my guy will come on here shortly to join me and so forth. But let's see what's going on in the comment box. Oh, there he is. There he is. My arch rival and enemy, Cuban Kane. But let me see here real quick. I got to give a shout out, and I just want to let you know I did not miss your comment the other night on Utah. We will have that battle, but there's really not much of a battle because I think we're in agreement of what a disaster the Miami Hurricanes football is. A couple of more guys in the portal, and it's just I would like to have hope and so forth because you look forward to a football season, but just a lot of money's being spent, and the fans are not getting their return for their buck. And I think you'd agree with me on that, Cuban, on that one and so forth. But yeah, we're now on Tuesday nights, and definitely. Well, it's not that I'm changing now, but I mean, I can't lie to myself. I can't lie. It's been a complete disappointment. I mean, I'll tell you this: if I would have bet myself that it would still be like this, even worse, of when the hires and everything first was going in motion there in December of 2021, I would have just said you're out of your brain and so forth, and it's not any better. So I can't dismiss it. And obviously, this is the only thing that I enjoy sports-wise because Miami basketball let me down this past season, and Miami baseball is just horrid to watch and so forth. So, yeah. Well, I was killing you. I will admit that. I was killing you and so forth. But here's the thing. If nothing changes, you were right. So I'm man enough to admit that you were right about that. And I don't know. I think back and something's not working. And I have more thoughts to give that I didn't even really touch on Utah last week, and I know they're going to have a show this Friday, and I'll definitely bring some more stuff when if I get a chance to get on. And shout out to Devin and Larry Frank and all those guys over there for sure. So, but that being said, though, if for all those rebels with a cause watching and listening. 5A champions now for 508 days and counting. Second day of spring ball wrapped up today. And, here's the deal. When you have over 100 kids show up and so forth, with pads and it's a tryout, it feels like, and so forth, because as you know, you can only get 11 guys on the field. Now, in a couple of years ago, when we were beating teams by the time it was halftime, a lot of the younger guys got in and so forth. And then there's a running clock. And especially when back then it was 35 points. Now you just have to get up 30 points and there's a running clock in the second half, at least for the Tennessee State rules in football. But last year, there were a lot of close ball games that we found ways to win. And there wasn't a lot of gameship that was done by a lot of these younger guys that are going to be counted on in big-time roles this go-ahead. So, but it's going to be very interesting how that shakes out. And today was only day 2 of the practices. So I'm going to be very, very excited as it progresses. And of course, the spring game is traditionally, when I played, we had a blue versus white game, or blue versus red. And truth be told, what ended up happening is the coaches would like draft us and even up the teams, and then we would finish spring practice with that game against each other. But now West likes to scrimmage, finish it up against an opponent, and this year they're playing Gibbs, who's up and coming and was a playoff team in 4A last year. So I'm very excited to see where West stands up with a team like them. And we're at their place, at their brand new stadium that they had to wait a couple years for. It's unbelievable that they went through an entire season and had to play their home games at other places, other schools, and wear their home uniforms, but they did not have a game at their school that entire year. So, props to them for weathering that storm. They've got a beautiful facility over there. I guess good things come to those that wait. But I'm going to be excited to see what West does. And I was talking to Chris Smith, my buddy who does the stats with me for West, and I will say that it's incredible that we will have that game, but it's controlled, and there's really not much you can get from that. But to be fair, I knew that we had a very, very good, solid defense when we scrimmaged Science Hill to end last year's spring practice. And it was the offense that took a minute to get started. You had guys that had not played. And so it was very interesting, very, very intriguing to see that. But by the second half of the scrimmage, we had worn Science Hill down. And the only time they scored was against our backup JV younger guys and so forth. And the guys that were counted on, I knew were going to be special and so forth, even with surprising people that weren't in the program as we got closer to the actual season that had transferred to other schools. But that being said, shout out to my boy Shane McGee. Shout out to my guys. So, hey, I want to tell you something. It is incredible that it's prom season, and I know you had a tough task finding a dress for your daughter and so forth. And it's just crazy how fast this school year is gone. And West's prom is on Saturday. So they're all kind of having them in these next few weekends, and then it'll be graduation in May. So it's really kind of wrapping up and so forth. But like you said, most schools now do that at the end of spring practice. I know that Bearden and Central are scrimmaging at the same time as West and Gibbs are. I was also curious about Alcoa and Powell. They're going to be scrimmaging at the end of their spring practices because Powell always seems to have a team that will challenge West and so forth. So, but yeah, if you're on that chat box, definitely say what's up. Tell me what's on your mind. But yeah, I'm going to be very intrigued of how West looks, and obviously we've got those four different quarterbacks vying for that job. One of which is still playing baseball and is going to be the rising senior in Parker Dubon. And I watched Parker. Throw some dimes with some of the guys, and if he can bring that with the pads on, and I have no doubt he will, Wes is going to be in great shape. Honestly, they are. I mean, and like I said, we went through some of the guys last week. Antoine Burdine. We went through, we talked about um, uh, Jack Keith. We talked about Riley Mannon. We talked about Antarius McAllister. We talked about all these different guys. Wyatt DeRoche, that it's their time now. It's their senior year. And, they were eighth grade champs a couple of years back. And so they are going to be counted on to keep this thing going in 5A. And like I said, it'd be so awesome this time next year to have 808 days and counting going for a 4P. Alcoa has won 8 or 9 of these in a row now and so forth. And what's really ironic is that one of the years Alcoa lost was the year that West won their first state title. And if Alcoa had won that one and so forth, they'd have something like 16 or 17 in a row. It's insane of how much they've done, and they're doing their thing over there at Alcoa. You got to give them their props, and they got a Michigan commit, and I'm sure that they're going to be fantastic again. And we get to go over to Pistol Creek to see how we match up with them, Game 5, Game 6 of the year. So that's something to look forward to when we play them. A couple of schools, unfortunately, I did see, Shane, didn't have a scrimmage lined up. I know it's Carnes, and there's always been a joke about that, especially now that Bishop's not there anymore. But literally, they're having like a blue gold game and so forth. And I guess it's because it's Carnes and nobody really wants to scrimmage them and so forth. But I hate that, because I think you really get better. You can pound on each other all day, but you get better when you play another school. And but maybe that's what they wanted. I don't know. They're still kind of transitioning from the Brad Taylor coaching staff, and let's see what happens with them at Carnes and so forth. But yeah, but you are right. For the most part, these spring practices now culminate with scrimmages and so forth, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see, and I don't want to wish it away, but I will definitely be there May the 10th. And Troy Smith said, "Hey, you should just turn on the camera and commentate it and go." And I might just take him up on that offer if 2 pairs available, or maybe Chris Smith can join in as well. So it's just one of those things. So yeah. No, man, you have to know where you're at. It gives you what you need to work on in the summer. How do you match up conditioning wise? How do you match up strength wise? Obviously the coaches can lead a horse to the water, but will the horse drink the water? And have these guys, for any team, bought in and gotten stronger in the weight room? Have they wanted to get better? Is there an offer they're chasing out there? I know they're in contact with coaches all the time and so forth, and maybe the coaches are telling them what they need to work on. Maybe it's a position switch that they need to establish themselves at to become better, and play a different position when they get to that next level, that maybe they're a little undersized at this position at the college ranks, but they would be available in the future. So those are things that come to my mind. Yeah, and also gives the live game reps and see where the players are at and understanding the playbook. Yeah, absolutely, and that's part of the thing. I mean, there's plenty of guys out there that they can. They could get A100s on tests and things like that, but maybe they just don't understand the playbook or know where to go. And then there's some guys that can't do nothing in the classroom, but you give them a playbook, they will know exactly who to kill and where to be to make a play that ultimately decides not only a touchdown drive, but it could be winning the game as well. So forth. So that's really big right there, and also just the camaraderie. You get to know your teammates, you develop those live game reps too, and so forth. The timing of the quarterbacks and the receivers, where to be with the blocking and the offensive line, and that's one thing that's really interesting when I talk about this West line, because last year we only had one starter coming back on the offensive line. We had young talent. We also had a kid transferring in. But realistically, though, I mean, it took a minute to gel. And when they put it together against an opponent like Bearden and then got better game by game, and then really put it together in the playoffs, that's where it is. And the fact that you've got four guys coming back from that six-man rotation and you've got some young guys that can possibly step in there. I don't know if anybody transferred in, but maybe that may have happened again, and so forth. And you got another stud up front blocking for whoever's going to be throwing the ball around or running the rock and so forth. And the one thing that I'm intrigued with is if West is going to be as balanced as they were last year, because they really were, between Hunter Dance's 1,800 yards and Marshawn Bowers having 1,000 yards despite missing a few games, and Devin Jameson, who also helped run the ball, he had 500 yards. So, and he missed a couple of games with some injuries. So it's unbelievable that the offense was able to keep up that pace, but also the defense did their thing, and the defense was just outstanding last year. And I would put, when we do have a discussion of which teams are the best in West history, obviously you look at the 3 state title teams. You can also point to which was the strength, which defense was the best. And I'm going to tell you this, 2014's defense was flashy, but realistically, and maybe played the tougher schedule, but 2022 and 2023 were just insane when I bring those numbers up when we do have that panel discussion. And I hope that everybody that I send an invite to will definitely bring that up there. So yeah, Carnes is going to have to figure it out, since that's where my son will be heading. Shane, can we get I know I have a mailbox. We can get him to West. I'm being Siri Friday Night Lights reference, but I mean, but yeah, no, they definitely do need to figure it out. And I hate that, because you can't tell me that of a school of that size or what have you can't get enough players. I mean, obviously Deshaun Bishop was there and it made everybody else better, but you mean to tell me that was only like a 2-year thing there, and then Brad Taylor leaves, and it's like you can win there. But it's just about, do you have the support of the community and everything like that? So, so yeah, I would love for him to be a Rebel, Shane. I really would love that. I mean, it would be the second, another generation there, and so forth like that. And I'd love to call his name out and so forth. So, to kind of go from there. So, I'm waiting for my guy Two-Pair Tate to come on and so forth like that. I just want to make sure that he's available and ready to go. I see him backstage, so I just want to make sure that he's good to go, and we'll see if I can get him on here. Having a little bit of technical difficulties, and let me resend him the link. Resend link. Let's see here real quick. Yeah, because we want to get my guy on and see what we can do here with this and so forth. But while I'm getting him on, what's everybody's thoughts on spring football? Like I mentioned, NBA basketball in full swing, the playoffs, some blowouts. There was a last-minute shot. So it's kind of crazy. Chalk is kind of being shown which teams are better and which ones are not, and so forth. And it's just one of those things. See what we can do with that, if those series are going to be competitive, or it's going to be in the second or NBA semifinals of when we get good. So yeah, Shane, you got a great point there about Carnes. You said, and I quote, Carnes' issue is the community expects instant results without supporting the coaches. Yep, that's exactly right. And it takes time. I mean, I mentioned with Lamar Brown, I mean, he inherited a mess after the Jeff Herrig hire was a bust. And literally it took him a couple years, and now look at how they're rolling with it. I mean, he's 75-20, but the majority of those 20 losses were in those first 2 seasons. He's 64-8 in the last 5 seasons. So I'm really hoping that whoever is at Carnes right now, or whoever is the guy when your boy gets there, that they've established some type of culture, and it really is all about the culture at West, and it's the coaching staff, it's everything. So yeah, but you know, it is just one of those deals and so forth like that. So for sure. But without further ado, I'm getting excited here and so forth because we got it figured out. The technical difficulties have been figured out. Hey, it's a new night, but it's the same cause. And remember, that cause don't stop when the clock hits zero. Just remember that. So, but I, you know, there's when he gets on, there is something I would love the chat box to also talk about. This transfer portal, guys, is driving me insane in college football and college basketball. And I really want your thoughts on it and so forth. I mean, you know, it's like I can't even count on the guys that I liked in a season being there the next year. You know, I mean, before, yeah, it was something if they went to the NBA or they went to the NFL. But now it's like, wait, they're playing for a rival now, or they're doing this, or what? And it's kind of ruined it for me a little bit. It really has. But I really want your input on that. But here's the deal. Here's the deal. I think my guy's ready. I think I see him backstage. He's ready to go. So let's bring him on with that proper introduction. Because here's the deal. I want to hear a prom story from my guy, Tate, because I'm going to share a prom story because it's prom is in the air. Saturday, West's prom. But anyway, my guy, my brother, my March brother, my brother who's a Knoll and I'm a Kane, but we love each other except for that one day. Voice of the Rebels, 18 plus years. The 2003 Mr. West, Tate, Brian Tate. Catch him at the Brickyard on Wednesday nights now. Let's give him a round of applause, baby. What is going on, sir?
You know, it's kind of cool. So I'm looking at this on the live stream on my computer.
Uh-huh.
I had to download the app. I couldn't get on Safari.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Even with the link and everything, me sending it to you and so forth, it would not let you.
It was doing the
circle of death. Yep. So
I was like, dude, I'm not even gonna be able to get on this show. It took a good minute.
Oh no, we're good, man. You rocking the shirts, man. We coordinated and rocked the shirts. So yep. But
shirt, you gotta.
But what is good, man? What is good? I held it down for you. I know that you would always be there and so forth. What is good, my brother? You got the floor. So
man, a lot of good stuff, man. You know, we got with this new women's basketball coach, I have a different type of energy that I haven't had in the women's program.
How special is that two-pair? I mean, he said tryouts. I mean,
tryouts. He balls to the wall, boss. He balls to the wall. When
boss,
he
ain't playing.
Tryouts,
he ain't playing.
He said tryouts. I'm looking at myself like when he said tryouts, that let me know he's got a sense of urgency to say it's going to take a lot for you to make this basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just like the fact that he's already got a program. He's meeting with parents.
Yep.
It's a total different energy.
Can I throw this out there too, Pair, and feel me on this one, and the chat box can do this too. We have talked ad nauseum about the potential of the boys basketball team and what they have coming back and what they need to do for this championship run next year. He needs to piggyback off of that because the butts are going to be in the seats in anticipation for the boys. Why can't they get excited for the girls' games like I mentioned and so forth, like we used to in 2011, 2012?
I really think with the boys, I think having Dane go down and then trying to acclimate him back into the roster, it just never worked.
Yeah.
It never worked. They just weren't in sync. You could tell the shots were just extremely flat. It just wasn't. it wasn't the team that we grown accustomed with that like
Mm-hmm.
that you saw that sophomore class go into juniors and it's like this is the year for those juniors to absolutely do something and they never got it together. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
During the season it just was you you lose to a team that you swept in the regular season. Then that follows what another loss,
Mm-hmm.
and then that followed another like you're
Yeah.
done. Your season
Mm-hmm.
was over.
Yep.
You literally just played 2 games in your
Yep.
season.
Yeah, you were done. You were done. So yeah, all that hard work, everything,
Yeah,
and yeah, and you could say the weather, you could say the injuries, but I think that they're going to put it together next year.
I think
And
that,
Coach Graves is wanting to capitalize on that. I mean, he's even had on the tryouts rising freshmen, meaning your eighth grade girls, which tells me if you can ball, you're going to play.
and
Simple as that.
I think what helps Cody is the simple fact that he's coached at the middle school level. You know what I mean? He's coached at the middle school level at Bearden, and that's a huge feeder school to West.
It is.
So, man, I'm for it. Like
Mm-hmm.
we need it. Like we
Yeah.
need it desperately in so many ways, dude. Like really need we really need it. It's
Mm-hmm.
gotta be it's gotta be now. If
I,
it
I said it last week. Why can it not be a fun 3 hours from 5:45 to 8:45 on Tuesdays and Fridays, respectively? Maybe even have a Thursday game or a Saturday. Why can it not be fun for the girls and the boys this coming up year? Honestly, so yeah, why
yeah,
not?
I'm right there with you. Like it's gotta be a fun atmosphere. It's a lot of times when you watch the girls, they were going through the motions. They never felt like they could win. They didn't compete. They didn't compete. It was just it was just bad basketball. Like
Hmm.
weren't fundamentally sound. You know what I mean? Like things that they should know to be doing. It's like they have a problem with doing that, and
Yep.
you can see you can see that every time you watch them play. You just like yeah. And where the boys, it wasn't if they were going to win, it was how much they were going to win by.
Yeah.
You know, but there were a few times at home where they dropped the ball a few
Mhm.
times. Like the Maryville, they could never got past Maryville.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
got
Maryville. And the thing was Maryville's kryptonite was William Blunt, who
him Blunt
West hosed. I mean, West housed him twice.
twice. Like
So
West had it. West, you know what I'm saying? And I felt like a lot of things went wrong with West when you lose a guy like man is on the tip of my tongue. Uh, One of my favorite 3-point shoot, Garrett Birch. When you lose Garrett
oh
Birch,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
you're losing Garrett Birch. You're not playing Schuler that much. You're not playing Dupree that much.
Hmm.
You tighten that rotation, but it's like those are the guys that are the shooters.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that loss of Birch getting hurt in that Bearden game, it was like we won that game. It was a fun night that night and so forth. But it's like, look what you like. Like, here's the thing: would you have rather lost that game, but Birch was healthy for the playoff run, than what happened? You know what I mean? Like, it's great to beat your rival, but at what expense? Because listen, Bearden was one bad half away from getting to state. They lost in sub-state, to Morristown. But literally, they were right there and so forth. And I would have traded with them in a heartbeat. I would have traded with them in a heartbeat to win the one that really
For
counted. So.
for, for West to be successful in basketball next year, and I'm actually going to tell Coach Caparo, I'm going to tell him like the only way that they're going to do it is you need to have some type of rotation that has Dupree, Schuler, Clark, and Birch on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Just a rotation of that.
Yep.
Have Devin running the 4. You can let Reese run the 1. Have the other shooters. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta have that type of rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't want to overstand my boundaries with coach and say that, but the more I looked at this team, it was the rotation.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's why I liked what Alcoa's coach did. He knew when to substitute. And obviously, look, you have kind of the cheat sheet
Carter.
with Carter, but or the cheat code, I should say. But realistically, you can bring guys that are athletic off the bench, no
Yeah.
matter what class they are, and they knew their roles. And the substituting pattern was perfect, even in that championship game. You know, and I just thought sometimes Gaporo went with his guys too long and didn't have the trust there when you had trusted them in other games, and
Right.
so forth like that. So, and like you said, putting Dane back in there, I would have liked to have seen Dane come in to spell, one of Kevin Jack or Devin from a standpoint that it was too crowded in the lane, and Jalen Hill and Reese, when they were out there, had to stay outside because the lane was clogged. You need to spread it out and then let your guys that have that shake and bake and athleticism drive and get a layup. If the 3-point shot's not there, then they'll respect you. So
Yeah, because they just didn't have a lot of chances to operate, and I thought the one guy I'm really big on for next year is Chris Coward.
Yeah,
because he's the X factor.
yeah,
I feel like what he brings off the bench. I really wish that there was some way to keep Mike Nelson because we didn't have Mike Nelson all year.
mm-hmm.
Um, I think he was the he's the one piece that we needed.
Mm-hmm.
When Jalen was having a bad game, you would have a Mike Nelson the year before.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and when Jalen got in his own head sometimes. If he was on, he was on.
he
But
was on.
when he was done, when he wasn't not
Yeah.
not engaged and
I,
so forth. But
I Jalen
there's 3 guys that I
I think
think
Jalen
could.
is one of the best point guards
He is.
in the city. I feel
Mhm.
like Jalen's not the best, but I think he's one of the best in the city. In the city, when it comes to being a point guard, I really think Jalen Hill, if he dictates the pace, I think Reese is one of the better shooters, one of the better two-way players because he can defend as well. Very great defender, versatile. If that can get going, Devin and Kevin they're going to be what they're going to be. They're only going to get better. They're two of the best interior players in the city and in the district. So I feel like Kevin Jack is going to be a lot meaner
Mm-hmm.
next year. Like I feel like Kevin Jack he's going to put people on notice. Like
Yeah.
when it's on the block, there's none better with footwork than Devin Martin and Kevin Jack.
Yeah,
Like
for guys that size, and honestly, I
I
know
feel
that they're basketball. I'd love to have them in football. Could you imagine them playing
like
football? I mean, yo.
you'd have Devin Martin at tight end and
Mm-hmm.
touchdown. It would be unfair to
Yeah.
have Devin play football. It would be unfair for Kevin Jack to play football.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have Kevin Jack at either defensive end or defensive tackle in the role of Jemias Mills from a couple years ago on the
Yeah.
undefeated West team. So
Yeah.
just a motor that won't quit. 3 guys that I really hope step it up, and we've mentioned one of them at length, but 2 guys that I really think can really help and take over in terms of what Dane and Hunter are leaving. They're graduating and so forth like that. And that's the other Dane. What's his last name? Dane um,
Britain.
Britton, right? Dane Britton, right? So there's him, and then I like Malik Wilson off the bench and so forth like that
Yeah,
too.
because Dane Britain's graduated. Dane
Yeah,
Britton.
yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's the other Dane. The barbershop, the one that you nicknamed the barbershop. I think you nicknamed him something. We were talking.
You talking about the paper boy?
The paper boy. That's it. Yeah,
Uh,
he could be a tall guy that
yeah,
that gets in there and spells Devin or Kevin when they need a breather and so forth. Like
that's right. There is a name. What's his last name? We should.
we should have it. I mean,
Oh, you know what? I thought that was no. I thought this was a. I thought I had a lineup in
yeah,
here.
but it's his first name is Dane as well, which was kind of interesting and so forth like
The
that.
paper boy.
The paper boy. Yeah.
That's right. That's his name.
Yeah.
It's
But
funny. We know his nickname. We don't know his
we
last.
we don't know his last name, and I remember talking to his
We said it
parents.
on episodes before.
We
Said
do. We talked about it because he even scored in that last
like we
home
gotta
game
get
against
more
Central.
time. We gotta get Malik Wilson on the floor more.
Yeah, yeah.
We
Because
gotta get. How do we
I mean,
not have Malik Wilson and Christopher Coward not on the floor enough?
pogo sticks. I mean, pogo sticks, man. Like
I
they are
feel like
in the air getting rebounds.
you can switch out. You can switch out one of those. I gotta have Reese on the floor though. I gotta have Reese on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta have Jalen directing traffic. I gotta have Garrett Birch. He gotta see the floor, whether starting or coming off the bench.
Yeah. It's a great problem to have too, Perry, because here's the thing. Why can't we two platoon system it like Kentucky did that one year, and around here, you'd run this thing. I mean, I think you would, obviously you'll have your tough games in district, but you should run the other teams.
Because I would like Jack Keefe in that second unit, but in that second unit, bring in Malik Wilson, bring in Joe Dupree,
Yep.
and Robert Schuler.
Yeah.
And have that second unit.
Yep.
That's a great second unit to have.
Yeah.
And have Paperboy at center.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. You could literally do a starting lineup of Reese, Jalen, Birch.
Yep.
Let's see here. Let's do Cowan and Devin as the starting five. Okay. Then your backups would be Malik.
Yep.
You'd have Schuler.
Yep.
You'd have Dupree, Dane, and Kevin Jack. There's your 10. There's your 10. Go. Roll the ball.
I feel like that's the best 10.
Yeah. And then you've got our Prince. You've got our Prince lurking around there as another ball handler. That's 11 right there.
I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
Kalu Fofana will be a name to watch out for on varsity.
Yep.
Like you saw what he could do in limited minutes. I think Dave Sanders is gonna get taller.
Yeah.
I hope
he scored in the Central game. Both of them did good in that fourth quarter when we cleared the bench. So
yeah. I'm really excited for Kalu. I think Kalu works tough. He's hard. He plays defense, like hard nosed, and really a good ball handler. I feel like Robert Schuler is gonna hit that. I'm the guy as a junior. I feel like out of the junior class coming up, Robert Schuler is the guy. Should be the guy.
Yeah,
you should be the guy out of that junior class because I'm thrilled about another freshman. I like Sean Smith. Like this crop of guys. Like you got young Sean Smith, who I think is going to be a problem. I think Sean Smith is going to be a total problem. I think Kalu. I love that sophomore class. Like this sophomore class, like if David Sanders gets taller, and this team could pretty much do some things that the underclassmen. But as far as the seniors, it's like this is it. Like if we don't come out the gates winning, like we really got to start reevaluating some things as far as what on a skills development level and playing level, because I really think that our women's program, the women's program is having a whole cultural adjustment.
Yes.
they're going from ground zero, and man, like I love the energy. I do.
Oh, you
Because
got to. You got to love it. I mean, and like I said, it's going to be fun, and switching gears, I want to make an announcement tonight. It happened earlier today, but another piece of that wonderful West defense made a commitment to play college ball. And let me tell you something. This kid is such a great kid. I can't say enough about him. Just an absolute animal on the field. Played with a partially torn ligament in his knee with a brace like this big on his knee all year long. Learned to play with it.
mm,
And just a guy that you couldn't keep off the field and was doing everything he could to get noticed by somebody to play football at the next level. And I salute Anderson Smith today as he committed to Wofford University.
South
And
Carolina.
yep, he's going there. And he's going to ball out there. And there's going to be some teams, hopefully, in a couple years, maybe offering him an NIL deal to come play somewhere. Because I have a story from last year's spring game against Science Hill. I was standing by the facility there in Carson Newman near the field, and we started playing some of the younger guys, so none of these guys would get hurt in the scrimmage there at the spring game. And there's Anderson Smith talking to his dad, saying, "Man, I want to go back in there." Like he had so much fun rocking skulls with Ryan Scott and CJ and everything like that. He wanted to go back in there. And I just knew right there, I was like, that's a special kid. I knew he was special from the year before when they won the title and so forth, but I knew between him, Ryan, CJ, DeRoche, all those guys, I was like, Jack Keith, I was like, this defense is solid. It was the offense that needed to because how do you replace Jaquarius Wren and Braden Latham and those fun guys? You know what I mean? Just speed all over the field. And you take your receiver, Marshawn, and make him your tailback. You know what I mean? It's just nuts. And then you had to break in a quarterback who was injured the year before in Hunter Dance, who needed to get back in that game action. I can't talk enough about this state title team. And now you're in day two. And, two-pair, it was like tryouts yesterday because you had 100 guys dressed out. Can you imagine that? And you've got 40-something freshmen coming in. And it's like you only got 11 guys that can get on the field. Offense, defense, special teams, some guys get in there. And it's a fun problem to have. But people need to understand their roles, and the guys that are going to be counted on that we talked about ad nauseum, the Burdines, the McAllister, Jack Keith, Dominic Davis, that senior class, you've got rings and you've contributed, but man, this is your team now. You ain't in Ryan Scott's shadow. You ain't in Anderson Smith's shadow or Marshawn's or Braden Latham's. This is your team. And I'm excited to see what they do with it, man, because and they've got some pups that are rising juniors it's their time to shine, that they were also 8th grade champs. So your senior and junior class have been middle school champs, and they've now been champions as underclassmen. Well, now they're the upperclassmen and are going to be counted on to deliver another championship and so forth. So the culture is just incredible and so much fun. I just get giddy, excited talking about it, and it's something to be proud of. Honestly, it really is.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what Deshaun Battle can do on that interior. Like I'm a Deshaun Battle fan.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited about Me Bane too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited for those guys. Man,
and what about Fulmer's grandson? What's he going to do? JP Peace. My goodness. You got Fulmer's grandson and Robert Peace's son, who was a good linebacker there at UT. Big boy. And then a guy that I'm close to, because he's part of the Big Brother Little Brother program, and his big brother just happens to be one of my best friends, Nalaja Dickey, whose brother was the starting left guard on the team 2 years ago that's playing ball in college right now. So look for him at defensive end to kind of show what he's all about and so forth. I mean, they've got some young guys that are really going to be bringing it. Davis Neely, Kaywood Rose, and that offensive line. That's who I was talking about before you got on. 4 guys coming back. I mean, that's a luxury to have. Some people are bringing in new offensive lines. Like Powell graduated most of their offense and defensive lines, and they might find somebody, but it's going to take them a minute to click. It really is.
So Co Davila will be a senior.
Yeah, and he's one of the dudes that was huge last year. Another one that was big. You mentioned Deshaun Battle on both sides of the ball. Steven Johnson is another anchor on that offensive line. And so is Brody McFalls. I mean, Brody's 6'2", 300 pounds. So, yeah, I mean, he's just nuts. So, yeah.
Brody McFalls. Yeah, I was looking at this. Man, it's going to be some talent, man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then that Malachi Jameson, they like him a lot. He was raw, but they felt that pretty good about him. 6 foot, 260 pounds. I mean, so he's a sophomore. He was a sophomore. Now he's going to be a junior. So they have a lot of excitement for a lot of the guys. I'll tell you a position I'm intrigued with too, Pear, that has not been a problem the last 2 years for West is the kicking position. A couple years ago, they had the kid that played soccer, and his name escapes me, and I feel bad that I should know it because he was automatic. And then you had Patrick Schmidt just step in and do a great job last year. In fact, he set the record for most field goals in a year for West football and so forth. And so you've had a senior kicker. Who's going to be your kicker this year, that is going to be counted on for those important extra points and field goals if the offense stalls. So that's going to be a position that I'm looking forward to. Do you have somebody in mind that can step in there in that role? So the only kicker that was listed on last year's roster was a sophomore named Pete Rogers, who was about 6'1", 169. So I don't know if he's the guy or if he's got first shot at it. I know that the punter's back, who really helped us towards the end of the year, Jones Bowling, and he was usually the holder on field goal kicks, and he's going to be a senior, 5'11", 145 pounds. So I don't know if he's going to get first shot at it as well to handle punting and kicking, but traditionally West has had a guy just do one or the other and so forth, and not both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, typically.
Yeah, for sure. So, but I'm excited. I really am, and like I said, the culture is there, and Tupac, I wanted to ask you something. So, West's prom is this Saturday and so forth, and were you the dude that got to go to prom all 4 years, or did you just go junior and senior year? What was your story, brother?
I only went to prom my junior and senior year, but I went to a bunch of girls' proms though. I went to a bunch of I went to Farragut's prom my junior year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you remember where it was at by any chance, off the top of your head?
Farragut's prom was downtown at the underground, like the Hollywood underground, like going upstairs. Yeah.
Okay.
It was what used to be the underground. It was like the ballroom up. Yeah, it was like right near John H. Daniel downtown and
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Farragut's prom was all right, man. West, I went my junior and senior year. My junior prom, I took the girl from Farragut that we both decided we'll go to each other's prom. So I went to her, went to mine. So and I was working for a tuxedo company at the time. So I got my tuxedo half off.
Yeah. If I recall, you wore a white one that junior year. I remember. Was it white?
I do have the pictures. Give me 1 second.
I want to say I remember you in all white, if I remember correctly. So yeah, if anybody's watching and has a prom story or anything like that, share it because truth be told, I remember his junior prom was my senior prom, and my junior prom was horrendous. We don't even need to talk about that. That was at the Radisson Inn, and that's not even the Radisson Inn anymore. It's still a hotel there, but I think it's called the Crown Plaza now in downtown. And it was a very nice venue. It was just not. I should have gone with somebody completely different, and it was just a bad situation overall. But my senior prom was very special with who I went with, and she was a great prom date, and we had a lot of fun. And it was at the Foundry. I remember it was at the Foundry that my senior year, which would be Two Pairs junior year, and I really liked my tux and the combo that I wore my senior year compared to the one that I wore my junior year. So yeah, but I was all in black, and it was a fun time. It really was a fun time, and I remember eating at the Copper Cellar as the dinner before, and just really good. Good memories, really good memories, and so forth. And
All
yeah.
right.
All right, let's see this thing. So,
All right. So I just want to tell you guys, I'm a piece of work. Like I ain't gonna lie. Like I look like Dwayne Wade in this one.
that's the picture. I remember it all white. I did remember it.
Does he look icy? He looks icy.
I love it. Look at the smile.
Yeah.
Look at the smile. I love it.
Smile. It looks like $1,000,000.
Oh man. That and let me tell you something. That was like a really good setup at the Foundry. That was a really good
love
setup.
the Foundry. Oh, dude, it was at the Foundry my senior year.
So they did it back-to-back years then. The West just stayed at that venue.
Now, shout out to my date for my senior prom. So I took the girl that I always thought was like really fine. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny. Like now, just think she didn't think so. So I was a big fan of the class of 2002's very own Bethany Erickson.
Oh wow! So you took Bethany Erickson?
I did.
Wow, that a boy, Two Pair. That a boy.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, look at that.
She's such a great girl.
Yeah, no, she was super cool. No, she was super cool. I had algebra 2 with her my senior year, and we did senior skip day together. She was really cool. Yeah, she was
super cool. She's great. She's a great girl. Great girl.
Yeah. And yeah, I took Heather Blackburn my senior year, and she was super cool and so forth, and did a thing with her and her two best friends and their guys, and I got along with both guys pretty good and so forth. And like I said, we went to Copper Cellar and had a great time at the Foundry, and even did old Steak and Shake at 2 a.m. or whatever like that. So yeah, afterwards it was fun.
Oh wow, I got some pretty cool stuff in here.
Yeah, look at that, man. That's the Bible right there. That's the book of love from Two Pair Tate. So.
Oh man, even in Two Pairs, even in a magazine.
Look at that. Look at that. I love it. You know, one of my favorite pictures of you is when you're holding up the newspaper, looking at it like, and you got like this look like, what's this or whatever. So yeah.
It was crazy because WVLT needed a song for Prep Extra, and I was like, man, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, my buddy Brad is the one that set it up. So shout out to my man Brad, if he's ever watching this. He set this up because he was writing for the New Sentinel back.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was writing for the New Sentinel back then, and Prep Extra, like Phil Kaplan. Shout out to Phil Kaplan.
I've heard that name. I've heard that name. So, yeah.
Shout out to Phil. Really good dude. And yeah, man, it's where it all came from. So,
Man, Shane's got kind of a sad story. Sorry to cut you off. He said, I missed out on prom both years. My sister took all my money that I had saved up, and to this day, I'm still mad I missed out on that experience. That's heartbreaking. Oh
yeah,
my God.
that's. I'm sorry, Shane. I never
Yeah,
knew.
man, that
And
sucks.
no, you're talking about Jasmine, your sister Jasmine.
Wow, that sucks.
You
Man,
know,
I hope. Yeah, well, I don't know if you followed on Facebook. Shane took his daughter. Her prom is on Saturday, and he took her dress shopping. I think there was like 4 dresses he was talking about that she was looking at and so forth. I hope she found the right one and so forth. But it's special, it really is special, and I hope she has a fabulous time. And I'm sorry to hear that, Shane. I really am.
yeah.
So, yeah, he said it was Jasmine. He said it was his sister Jasmine. So yeah, yeah,
Damn, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
yep, yep. So yeah,
Yeah, dude, the prom was.
it turned into 6 dresses. He said so. Oh man. So
Wow, she's going to every.
what store? What store did you go to? Because I remember that was a big deal. Like the guys, we had a couple of tuxedo places to choose from, but the girls could go anywhere, but there were
Yeah,
certain stores that were
that's
elevated. So
that.
yeah.
That's how I got my tuxedo my junior and senior year. I worked for the tuxedo place during the prom season, and I got everybody tuxedos.
That's
Everybody got
I wish
tuxedos.
I wish we would have been a little bit closer. I could have used a little bit of help there, man. I spent a lot. I Do you know where I ended up going?
Where'd you
It
go?
was the tuxedo store by the old Dollar Theater in Windsor Square. I think it's a different name now, but that's
Different.
where I went my senior year. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
forgot the one. The one that I went to was in the mall. I don't think it's
Yes,
in.
that was my junior year. Yes, and the guy was hilarious. He had the ruler and the measuring tape, and he's like, "Oh, you look fabulous. Have
You
a
look fat.
wonderful
You have the
time."
black hair. I
Yes, that
worked with
guy.
that.
I think his name was
I
Sergio.
worked with
I'm
that
not
guy.
kidding you. I think his name was Sergio, and he was like, "Oh, you look fabulous. Have
I
a
worked
wonderful
for him.
time." Yeah.
Yo, that's the dude I worked for. So, like my junior year, I love my junior year prom tuxedo more than my senior. My senior year, that was when all the big tuxedos, like that Steve Harvey.
With the tails, the long coat. Yeah.
No, man. Look at how horrible. This is like one of those bad NBA draft. Um, Man, dude, it's like one of them old baggy Carmelo, and look at how baggy. Look at how long this fucking jacket is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like almost like a coat tail. It's like long. So yeah. The other one was tight, perfect on you. The junior
It
one
is
was.
huge. Look at that thing.
Yeah.
That thing is huge.
Oh.
Yeah, it was horrible. Yeah, I didn't like the jacket, but I loved my date. I just was like, damn. When they
Yeah.
say 20 years from now, this motherfucker's gonna be huge.
Well, can I tell you a story? Let me tell you this.
I looked great.
I actually no, right there. That's tight. Look at the shoes. Look at the white shoes and everything on that.
I
So,
was gonna wear Air Force Ones, but I was like, nah, let me.
nah, you had to. Man, the only thing you were missing was like the badass white cane with it or something like that. That was the only thing you were missing right
I
there.
wanted it so bad, but you know what, man? Like, I ain't gonna lie, I had fun, man. My prom was everything, man. It was
Yeah.
cool.
Shane said that I guess they found the dresses at Windsor at Westtown, and
Or
yeah,
West sounds
yeah.
about right.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was going to ask you this. Do you remember where you went to eat and so forth? Because I remember one year,
Copper Cellar.
Copper Cellar, man, Copper Cellar was the place, dude.
Copper Cellar
Honestly.
was the spot.
Yep, yep.
Copper Cellar was the spot,
It was
man.
like romantic. It was dark, the candle and everything. It was nice. It set the mood for a good night and so forth.
Yeah, it did. It really did. Like we were such in a different time back
We
then, man.
were.
It was like
And what about me mentioning Steak and Shake that was right there by Westtown Mall and it's not even there no more. It's now in Turkey Creek and it ain't even a shell of what it used to be.
oh my God. Isn't that crazy though? Like
Yeah.
how everything changed from that time period. Like everything was close and It's just a, you know what I'm saying? It was just a different time we were in, and it just like that whole like prom. I didn't even. It's funny because I sit and laugh because I looked at prom, and I could have won Mr. West, Homecoming King, and
Mhm.
I would have won the Triple Crown. My dumb ass, I vote for my best friend Chad Davis.
And Chad won it, didn't he? I
Chad won.
remember that. Even though I wasn't there, like I remember, like I heard about it and so forth. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Shane McGee, too many drunk nights at Steak and Shake. It was the place to go, man.
And
Like
Waffle House.
Waffle
And
House.
Waffle
Yep.
House.
Yep.
I was a here's let me tell you how, mate. You will not believe the female that put me up on Waffle House. Colette Boudreaux put me up on Waffle.
Colette Boudreaux.
Colette Boudreaux. Mm,
Nice. Nice.
about it.
She's ageless, by the way. She still looks the same. I'd love to have her on the show. She's like done Broadway and theater up there. She is ageless. I tell her that all the time. So,
Uh,
yeah.
it's it
Shane,
is.
which Waffle House do you go to? I either go to
Paper
Cedar Bluff
Mill,
or Paper
paper
Mill.
mill,
Paper Mill is
paper
the
mill,
one now.
paper
Paper
mill,
Mill.
paper
Paper
mill,
Mill.
paper mill, paper mill, paper mill, paper mill.
It is. It's the one, man. I'm telling you. So,
Paper mill's the
yeah.
one, man.
Yep. Steak and eggs with the toast and hash browns. Hell yeah, man. That's why we're boys. That is
Yeah.
why we're boys.
Ah,
Paper Mill. I'm telling
paper
you.
mill, paper mill.
Hey, after every West football game, no matter if it's home or away, you know where we end up? We always end up at Paper Mill. And you know who's there? Mark Packer and all those guys after the game. They always go the what is it, Rivalry Thursday people? They're always there. Yeah.
Hey,
Because
that
that's
we
the
need
place
to
to
make
go.
it a tradition. Waffle House out there every game.
After every game, man, we go. We go.
I,
Yeah.
I'll see y'all there. Paper
No,
mill.
you should. You should come and join us. Me and Chris Smith. Yeah, we go every time. So, yep. Um, speaking of prom, there's a story for us after the show because we haven't gotten to do an after the show in a while or whatever because we've been busy. But I got a story for you that you'll die laughing about. One thing that stands out to me at going back to the proms and so forth, and like you said, it was a different time.
Oh,
I
man.
always remember some of the girls got so competitive that they really wanted to do that whole 4-year thing. Like somehow a freshman girl would try to go with a senior, and then like a senior would like let them come in, and then they'd get with like the other like maybe like what would happen is they'd come in and there was a senior, two seniors, but they would go with the freshmen, and then like they would trade partners just to get them in there. You know what I mean? And it's like it's really for upperclassmen, but the only way an underclassman goes if you are the date of that person and so forth like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I didn't. It's crazy because I could have went as a freshman. I could have went.
Yeah.
Didn't. I could have went as a sophomore as well, and I
And you
didn't.
didn't. So I was figuring, I was like, if anybody had a chance to go all 4 years as a dude, it would have been you, honestly.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
So yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, man. Like, to be honest with you, um, I didn't know I was Mr. West until somebody told me. I didn't even know until somebody had said, "Yeah, you won Mr. West." I was like, "I'm Mr. West of all people." I wanted to win most talented, and I didn't
Mhm.
even know that. I mean, I guess most Mr. West is like all of the superlatives in one.
It's like you're top dog. I mean, you really are top dog. It's funny you mentioned that. I think that your superlatives of who won that 2003 was probably the most fair way of people won. I know you mentioned you wanted to do most talented and so forth. With my class of 2002, it really was like a popularity thing because the person who won funniest, like to quote somebody that will remain anonymous, and I'm not going to hurt anybody's feelings on this show. Their exact quote was, "How did she win most funniest? She's funny to look at, but she ain't funny at all. She doesn't even talk." And it was like almost like a popularity contest. And if you really are interested, go to the class of 2002 yearbook and see who was the funniest, and you'll know who I'm talking about. Who said it?
Funny as hell.
What?
Amanda won your funniest, didn't she?
I don't think so. No.
Amanda Davis. Yeah, 2002.
Did she win that?
Yeah.
I thought it was somebody else that won.
Amanda Davis was hilarious.
No, she was funny, but whoever was being nominated, like as a popularity thing, it was like this girl don't even talk. And
Davis won.
Yeah, did she? Okay, well then I feel better about it.
2002.
2002.
Give me 1 second.
Just check. Honestly, no, I'm being serious. Whoever won funniest in 2002, I like somebody made the comment. How did she win this? I mean, she's not even funny. She don't even talk. She's funny to look at. And I just lost my marbles in economics class when the guy said it. Honestly, I really did. So yeah. So. Yeah, but I don't know. I just with you mentioning prom, Shane, I was just thinking about that, and I was like, man, it's just brought back memories and so forth. And I used to have a tradition where I'd watch American Pie as a joke, just because of the premise of that movie and so forth. And it was just one of those things where it made me laugh and so forth, the premise of it, and how prom is probably looked at now compared to that movie that's 25 years old. I mean, it's just crazy. It really is. So, yeah. Two-Pair, enlighten us. I want to hear about this. So.
He strikes again. Guess who it is? Amanda Davis.
Then she deserved it. Okay, that's fine.
She was hilarious. Amanda Davis. Shout out to my girl Bones. Amanda Davis.
Well, I'm glad. And I'm not going to say who I thought won it or whatever like that, but I'm just going to tell you this. It's a good thing she did win it, because who the popular people were nominating or what have you, it was almost just to get everybody on that superlative thing. So, honestly.
Yeah. Man, this is crazy. I'm looking at all this.
Who was the 2002 Mr. West, by the way? Who was that?
Hold on.
Who was that in my class?
The coolest guy ever.
Oh, Brad?
No. Nate McMurray.
Nate McMurray. Okay, all right, Nate. Yeah. Okay.
Look at Nate. Nate was the guy.
Yeah.
Nate was one of the guys. I love Nate McMurray.
You know what the difference between, I feel like you were so involved in the sports, with everything, whether you played or announcing and everything like that and so forth. And I think Nate did a lot of the behind the scenes stuff and was more academia. Don't take that the wrong way. I almost feel like that's what he got. So, wow. Look at that.
Out of that. Yeah, wow. Shot that.
Where was that picture taken, by the way? Is that at North Shore Park?
No, it's a University Club. Behind University Club.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. I was trying to figure that one out. So, okay. I can't let my kids see the old yearbooks because of the hate they will send my way. Laugh out loud. Hey, let me tell you this, and then Mikey. Yep, Mikey. Yep.
I gotta ask this though. I gotta ask Shane. Shane, did you feel like I was Mr. West when I was in West?
I would have.
I gotta ask the people that tune in. Am I a good representation of West? I hope so.
You had a great reputation. Two-Pair, I never heard anything bad said about you. I didn't.
Really?
I mean,
really?
I didn't. Not from our class. But to be fair, remember, I was more friends with your class than my own class and so forth.
Yes,
that.
Correct.
So, the Dina Goldsteins, the Lindsay Prices, they loved you. They never had an issue with you or anything.
Well, they loved me because I loved them.
Yeah, for sure. So, yes, you were the man around the school. I mean, They gave you a microphone to host like a pep rally as a sophomore. I don't remember. Not many people get that cred, honestly. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying.
You know, can I tell you? I used to tell the girls' soccer team that I was the sophomore daddy. I don't even know where I don't even know where and today, if I said that to a girl today, oh God, I'd be canceled.
I would love to have seen the looks on what was her name? Trotter, Rachel Bast, Audrey Huber. I'd love to have seen all their looks on their faces when you told them that.
No, they actually do.
You announced their games. Yeah.
On my card that they gave me at the soccer banquet, they wrote on there, "Thank you, sophomore daddy, for announcing our games." Shout out to Rachel Bass, because she started calling me that. Then I want to say, Lindsay Stone called me that, but it was a joke when she said it. Mary Trotter was like, "I'm not calling you sophomore daddy. I'm not." Yeah, she was joking though. But
of course,
I
liked Lindsay Stone. She was cool. I liked Lindsay Stone.
Man, I just seen Lindsay for the first time in like years at our reunion. Yeah, I seen everybody at the reunion.
Do you want to know something? Do you know I was supposed to go to that, by the way? I think I told you and so forth. Like, I was like an honorary guest. And I mean, and I would have gone, but my wife was, still dealing with the tragedy of me losing my stepdaughter and her daughter and so forth. So, that was real tough and everything. So that's why I didn't go. But that would have been a fun night to at least be a part of that there on Sutherland Avenue and seeing you guys.
Yeah, man. Like a lot of, it's crazy because I'm friends with everybody on like Facebook, so I kind of keep up. But I had to get a whole new Facebook because my old Facebook, the two pair Tate Facebook, is hacked. So yeah,
I'm still friends with it. I will never delete it. By the way, it's still on my friends list.
You can find. Oh man, there are some great pictures on there.
There are wonderful pictures when you were younger. Yeah,
dude. If you go through my photo albums of like Cancun photos, man.
Oh yeah. I remember when you would post those pictures live after they happened or what have you. So it's like that guy. So yeah, it only took us 20 years to put a reunion together. So that's the other thing too. I don't want to disrespect the class presidents or whatever like that and so forth, but I don't think you're young enough to understand the responsibility that comes with that, honestly.
But there were not a lot of guys at my my 20-year reunion. Like Mike Courtney was there.
I knew Brandon Bell was there. Corey Davison was there.
His friend is Jeremy Pegas. Then the guy I get into a fight with is there, Justin Watts, who I had to pummel twice in one night. And I had to shake his hand. Like, I had to be a bigger person. Do you understand how much that killed me, James? I had to be the bigger guy. Damn.
I've been there.
Yeah. I had to be the bigger guy. Because it was like people were around. So
Shane says he got so much shit that night for being tied to BHS because of the Hail Mary pass by West and so forth.
Man, I wasn't giving them no shit. But nah, man, it's cool to look back at.
It is.
It's crazy to look. Like, it's crazy to look back at all these like pictures and stuff. Like, I'm in amazement because, damn, like that was me 20 years ago, and I'm 4 months like.
Well, and it's just, I don't know if you heard when you were getting your yearbook or whatever, I was telling Shane, I had this tradition every year around this time to watch American Pie, the original. And can you believe 25 years ago it was released? That's how old American Pie, the original movie is. Not these straight to DVDs. The original is 25 years old.
I got an American Pie story. Me and Kasra Talib Hagipour is one of my best friends. Still one of my best friends to this day.
He's cool. He's a cool dude.
One of the coolest. Like, he actually won class president one year. I think it was my junior year. He was our class president. Cash, I've known Cash since sixth grade, and he has been he's been like one of my best friends since middle school. I actually met everybody. I met Shane. I met Shane in health class with Mr. Hudson and Miss Perkins. So I've known Shane.
When they cared about health.
I've known I've known Shane most of my whole life since middle school. I've known Cash since middle school. I've known Jeremy Pegas since middle school. I've been out of the country with Jeremy Pegas. I got stuck in Vegas with Jeremy Pegas.
Wow.
That's how long I've known guys. Like the first time I met Shane, he touched the top of the ceiling in the hallway going towards health. And I know it because he had on the Shaquille O'Neal jersey or a Penny Hardaway jersey. I can remember little stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's just crazy. It playing ball against you and Cash.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome right there.
No, like in middle school.
He said Penny. Yeah.
I'm telling you, like I can remember that. Like I remember the first day I met you.
Yeah.
I met you through one of your friends.
Right.
On me.
I know.
Was that in the hallway?
It was it was like in the hallway going to the cafeteria for lunch. Honestly, it really was. So yeah, I don't know what class you were in. I know I was coming from biology. With Miss Binkley. And literally, like, I don't know what class you were, but we had that same lunch period because they staggered the lunches in the cafeteria. So, yeah.
That's right.
And the cafeteria is twice the size that it used to be. The old library, they knocked that wall down and everything like that. And now they have a new library and so forth. So,
dude, the new library is crazy.
Mm-hmm. That's the other thing, too. I've not been in the building except for the auditorium and the cafeteria. Because they ruined it, like these sick bastards ruined it for us to not go back and see the hallways because no one's there after hours or whatever. And in the hours, it's for the safety of the students. But people ruin that because I remember when we were in class, kids that had graduated a couple years before were in town visiting from college, and they would hug the teachers. And I always thought to myself, I wonder if that's going to be me in a couple. No, that all changed. That stopped. So
yeah, it's such a different time, man. Like it's such a different time.
Yeah, I could jump and run fast back in those days. If I remember, I was getting rim in gym class somewhere between 7th and 8th grade. That's awesome.
I remember it though. Like that's what I'm saying. I remember Shane. I remember Shane ever since 6th grade. Like I've been in school with Shane. Like most of my like when I was announcing UT games, I could point Shane out in the crowd. Like that's how long I've known Shane McGee. Like that's literally how long I've known.
I hadn't seen Shane up until recently when we went to Dina Goldstein's birthday, and it was awesome, reconnecting and seeing him and so forth, and just seeing those guys, honestly. So yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling too well that night. I think I either was in the studio and I just wasn't feeling too well.
Yeah, she did a thing at Top Golf, and then we went to Bull Feathers, and I did some karaoke that night. It was funny. So I tear it down when I do karaoke. So yeah.
Man, I'm seeing a lot of stuff in this yearbook people write. Man, it's kind of crazy.
Hey, Two-Pair, switching gears a little bit, I wanted to ask you about something that I brought up earlier in the chat, and Shane had an interesting point that I'm going to have to scroll up and find it and so forth. And I can see his point and so forth, but man, what's your thoughts on the NIL and the transfer portal right now? Because Shane put, I'm all for collecting the bag with transfers and NIL, but the amount of high school kids who are having to go to smaller schools just to get some film on them is crazy so they can make the move up. Yeah. I mean, that's where it's at right now. But with me, I'm just like, I don't even know who's on the Tennessee basketball team anymore. Like, I really don't, it's crazy. So, yeah.
Right. You really don't know, man. Like, this is a really wild time with all this NIL and you know what I'm saying? Like I look at guys like Jonas Adu. You come to UT as a 5-star and you play, and then you want to leave. You want to leave because of the money, and then it forces a guy like Toby Awaka to put himself in the transfer portal. But now he could come back.
Mm-hmm. I hope he
Like
does.
it's like, look, at this point, we are in an era where this is semi-pro.
Mm-hmm.
Not You're not a student athlete anymore. That student athlete bullshit is over with.
It's
Like
done.
that's done.
Do they
Ain't no
even go to class anymore?
athlete.
I'm not trying to troll. Do they even go to class anymore?
Don't even go to class. Okay, think about it. I'm here 6 months. If I declare I don't have to go to school, I don't have to do anything. Yeah, it's full on free agency. It's
It is.
full on free agency. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Because there's no, you ain't gonna see guys stay at a school to be all-time leading scorers anymore. Them
No,
days is over.
no.
Ain't no all-time leading scorers in this generation. No. We got lucky because it was Caitlin Clark for the girls' side. But for the boys, that I saw I saw Cameron Tatum, former UT legend,
Who I like a lot. I like Cam Tatum.
yeah, I love Cam. I saw what Cam posted about it in today's game. I don't know if I don't want to misquote him, but he was saying, would some of these guys still be the all-time leading scorers at their schools? And with the way this NIL shit's going down, no, they
Mm-mm.
wouldn't. They wouldn't be the all-time leading scorer. It's a lot of guys that wouldn't be the all-time leading scorer.
I guess. I mean, I guess Tyler Hansborough's record is safe at North Carolina. To be honest with you, nobody will pass that and so forth, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, speaking of North Carolina, I heard they reached out to join Jonas Adu because they missed out on a couple of their big men targets that they were looking at and so forth to replace Baycott. So that was intriguing. I I looked at Indiana. They're spending some crazy NIL money. They got the big guy from Arizona, and then they got that point guard from Stanford or what have you. So yeah, I mean, so Indiana's trying to get back in the game of college basketball and try to reestablish themselves. But it's not a for sure fire thing because you got to have chemistry and you got to bring something and you got to mesh with these freshman recruits. And I just find it funny that Kentucky's team is now going to be Arkansas next year. Pretty much, they all followed Calipari, so that was intriguing to me. So.
Yeah, that was pretty intriguing, man. Like, it just goes to show you, man, like the way everything is happening, where Kentucky is losing a coach in the same conference, and most of those guys are going to be coming with him.
I mean, can
Like,
you imagine? Like they're going to go to Rupp next year, and they're wearing Arkansas. That's like if the entire Carolina team transferred to Duke and went to like Chapel Hill. I mean, that what are we talking about here? Honestly,
because
like
Kentucky and Arkansas used to be a fierce rivalry in the '90s, in the
with
90s,
with
early
Corliss
2000s.
Williamson and when Nolan was coaching there and Pitino was at Kentucky, it was one of them two every year, like winning the SEC.
Especially back in the '90s. Like, you had Arkansas win '94, you had Kentucky win '96, '98, right? '96, '98. Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, no, and I'll tell you this: Pope has his hands full over there at Kentucky. I mean, I think that was cool.
But but he's got a key assistant coach hire.
Yeah, he did. He had a great hire. I saw that. I saw
Got
that today.
Jason Hart. Jason Hart, former Syracuse legend, played in the NBA,
Yep.
coaches NBA talent when he coached it for the NBA G League team, G League at night. The dude, the dude is gonna get players. Like,
Mhm.
Jason Hart was a huge hire. Like Jason Hart was a bit put like this. Jason Hart was a bigger hire than Calipari rehiring Kenny Payne.
That is ironic that you mentioned that too, because I mean that handshake after that Louisville Kentucky game, and now they're on the same sideline. Like that's just nuts. So yeah, I got another one for you. It's funny to be a part of Kentucky and basketball and Alabama football because I'm sure you saw it. It was all over Facebook and social media. Did you see the crowd that was there for the Alabama spring game for DeBoer's first spring game compared to what was Washington's spring game last year? Like there was nobody in those stands for Washington, and they got a full damn crowd in Alabama. I mean,
Oh,
that's special.
they're going to support football.
Yeah, yeah. And could you imagine like they brought out Mark Pope and the 96 Wildcats in a bus and Rupp Arena was filled for a coaching announcement. I mean, could you imagine like if we filled Thompson Bowling Arena for the next coach or someone like that? I mean, I don't know. That's just it's crazy. So it was huge. So just some things stood out to me. So any thoughts on the NBA playoffs so far? I mean, it has been blowouts, and then the Lakers blew that lead last night, and Jamal Murray made that.
How about the Los Angeles Lakers? You know what I'm gonna say?
They stink.
They stink.
They fucking stink. Oh my gosh.
Stink. Lakers stink. And the thing is, what made me mad about it is I'm a LeBron fan.
Yeah.
I am a LeBron fan.
Man, and Big O, I know watches this show, man. He tears LeBron up every day, yo.
Every day. I'm a LeBron fan, right? I am. But I'm a Jordan guy.
Yeah.
I'm a Jordan.
You gotta be a Jordan guy being
I'm a
North
Jordan
Carolina
guy.
guy. So yeah.
But LeBron is my age, and he gives me hope that I can still hoop. That's why I'm a LeBron fan, because I can't play it now. I'm horrible now. Like I'm nothing of what I was 2003. What hell, even 2010. I'm not even 2010 me when I really could get down.
Well, and you know what the funny thing is? If you look at him, like I said, he's never had a major injury. Like look at Dwayne Wade's career got cut short because of the knees. Chris Bosh had to end his career because of blood clots. You can't help that kind of stuff. He has been blessed in that regard, and I think that's why he gets so much hate. If I can throw this out there, because you know how I like to parallel wrestling too, you know what I mean, and so forth. You're starting to hear chants, "We want Roman." They're already missing Roman Reigns. It's like you hated the guy. You wanted him to lose the title, but you still like him. Cena always got called Cena sucks. And now people go crazy when Cena makes an appearance here and there. My question is this. Are we going to miss the LeBron hate in 5 years? Like, who's going to be like the next guy in 5 years, that we might not like or whatever? The face of the game, I mean.
My thing with LeBron is he's one of one. Like there's no guy that scored over 40,000, 10,000, 10,000. Like that's a crazy. He did, man. He really invested in his health, rehab to his body is just ready. And to be honest, I think he's just they'll bow out early. I don't think they're going to beat the Nuggets. They're going to bow out early. And he's getting prepared for Paris.
Mm-hmm.
Because you won an in-game season tournament to lose in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's what you're being judged on now. Because you're being judged on what you do in the playoffs. And dude, y'all were the 7th best team. You had to play in to get in to the playoff.
And let's be real. Let's be real. If Zion doesn't get hurt, they probably don't even win that game. Zion was killing them for 40 points. I mean, so
you want some more funny shit to say?
Lay it on me.
What team win the in-season tournament to lose in the playoffs in the first round? Yeah, I do like what Kyrie said right there about I do. I think they should get back into the going of training and competing for it. But I also like I understand why Draymond Green doesn't make the Olympic team. It's just too much of a like we
Yeah.
need you, on your P's and Q's. You're not
He's a PR nightmare.
at the representation of basketball, and you're a representation of USA basketball, and your representation on the court is a little bit we don't want that on public display. We already see it in the league. We don't want to see it internationally because that's just a bad representation of the game because it's not like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do I love what he does defensively? Do I love what he brings to a basketball team with basketball IQ? Hell yes, but I can't have them technicals and slapping people in the face.
And
Like,
disrespecting coaches and just being, I mean,
yeah,
come on, like, yeah. And on that stage, you're going to have millions of cameras on you, like people that
right,
may not even, because you got people that watch the Olympics that may not be basketball fans, but they're got this rooting interest. Like there's sports that I watch in the Olympics that I don't follow all the time, like beach volleyball, gymnastics, the
yeah,
track and field, and so forth. But I'm just saying that you watch that. I mean, every camera's on you, even when you're warming up, or if you don't perform well, they get those facial expressions. I mean, so yeah, I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
It's like, you gotta make sure that you get the best representation. That exactly like having Dennis Rodman on the '96.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine? Like Rodman would have been a beast, but at the same time, he'd slap his own guy on the team or something, and pick a fight. You never know and everything.
Yeah, they weren't gonna put a guy like Dennis Rodman on USA basketball.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Well,
like
and you know what I'm kind of shocked
let
about
Jordan
too is you look at that roster, they should win gold. I mean, come on, and so forth. And the last Olympics was an embarrassment. I mean, it was. I mean, that was terrible. So yeah,
Well, no, they did well in the Olympics. They didn't do well in the FIBA. They won in 20.
Oh, did they win in 21? Because I know it got moved. Because it got moved to the COVID year, and then they moved it the next year with no fans in the stands or
Yeah,
in Japan.
it,
So
it
yeah,
was in Tokyo. Was it in
Tokyo. I mean,
Tokyo?
to be fair, that
We
thing
won.
bankrupted. I mean, no, that thing bankrupted in Tokyo because if you think about it, they built all these stadiums and nobody was in it. Like nobody, just the family members, like certain family members, and then it was even limited, and everybody had to wear a mask. And I mean, what a horrible just to think back about that.
Dude,
Honestly,
that was a bad. That was a year. That was right at because I was in Vegas in 21. Yeah, so
yeah,
it was a bad time. It just was a really. It wasn't. It. We did well.
hmm
Like the Americans have not lost since 2004.
Okay, so they did win. Okay, so they did win the. I guess maybe it was FIBA then that I'm thinking of that
FIBA,
they
FIBA,
were horrible. They did horrible.
FIBA needs to be corrected. FIBA needs to be like
I
I get.
stand corrected.
We send the up and comers to FIBA. Like I thought you put Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, um, Brandon Ingram. It just wasn't a good selection of guys.
No,
Anthony Edwards, you had Paolo, like the up and coming guys. Don't get me wrong. I think Paolo was one of the better players on that team. I think Ant-Man was
Ant-Man's coming along. He's really
Ant
blowing
Man
up
is
here.
the future MVP, and I've been saying it. Like he's a future MVP of this NBA. Like a guy that really goes after it on both ends. Like he guards the best player. He's willing to take the big shot. Like he really one of them guys that's a top 5 guy in the league right now and is an MVP type caliber player in this league.
Yeah, his performance against Kevin Durant the other night was just phenomenal.
Master and tonight
Oh,
too. And
yeah,
tonight.
yeah, yeah. You know who else was horrible the other night, and we can say it because we're fans of them. The Miami Heat stink. I mean, what were they doing the other night? I mean, oh my God.
14-94. Bad. Brutal.
It's horrible enough that with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter, it says 99.9 on the ESPN predictor that the game was over with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter, two-pair. What the hell?
It was bad watching that, but there's no Jimmy Butler. You
There
can't.
isn't.
You don't. Jimmy gives you that hope. Jimmy gives you the hope that you should win. You know what I mean? Like Jimmy
Yeah.
gives you that type of hope. You lose Jimmy, that's like 22, 26 possible points on the board.
Mhm. And then the trade with Rozier has been a bust because of his health problems. He's not available. So that's two guys.
Kyle Lowry out here hooping for the Sixers.
I know. I know.
Like, because Kyle Lowry, the thing is, Kyle Lowry, it just wasn't doing it for the regular season. And it was like a move that we need to make. But it's like we made the move for Rozier, and Rozier is hurt. And Rozier gives you a lot more because of the youth. Because he's younger than Kyle Lowry. He can really go. Not saying Kyle Lowry can't. It's just Kyle Lowry is he's in the latter stages of his career. And it's almost time to hang it up.
And he's also had that playoff experience. He would always bring it in the playoffs, you know, even in his undermanned years at Toronto and so forth like that. So, but you know, another team that it looks on paper that the Celtics and the Nuggets are on a clash. I'm not saying that somebody else can't jump in there, but you know, are we going to be saying? I mean, I look at the Nuggets starting lineup and then the guys that come in and do the role playing thing for them, and I'm like, is this another back-to-back team? I hate to say that or whatever, because you know you want a little bit of intrigue, but they're pretty good. I mean, they just, everybody knows their role. They're big, they're tough, they're strong. They hit their outside shots. I mean, I saw. Oh God, who was that? God, their small forward, but his name escapes me. He was big time, and he had a little bit of health problems. He played for, I think it was Quanzo at Missouri.
Porter Jr.
Thank you. He has a hand in his face and he's fading away and he swishes it. And I'm like,
oh, you talking about Murray?
Yeah, well, Murray hit the game-winning shot, but I'm who is that?
You talking about Michael Porter? Michael Porter Jr.
Yes, him. He's got a hand in his face and he makes a shot like fading away and it swishes all, and I'm like, wow, off balance making that. Like, and you know, before his health issues, he was the number one player coming out of high school that year and so forth. People forget about that, and he had to sit out that year because of his health problems, and he still got drafted, and look at where he's at now and so forth, and that awesome lineup.
Champion could be on the verge of being a back-to-back champion.
Yes. Yes. And then what about Aaron Gordon on that team too? You know, I mean, Aaron Gordon once upon a time was considered the fourth best guy behind Andrew Wiggins, Jabari Parker, and Julius Randle. And now he's about to get another ring, it looks like. So it started out in the Magic before he got traded.
He could be a back-to-back champion too.
Yeah. I mean,
that was one of the better moves that they made, was getting him out of Orlando. Like, you're pairing him with Joker.
That's your front court.
KP. You've got Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray.
Yep.
Christian Braun off the bench. Then you got Watson off the bench. Peyton Watson out of UCLA.
Yeah. Hey, and what about DeAndre? DeAndre too. I mean, you know, he's in the latter stages of his career, but he's a quality guy that knows what's up. So
he's a quality back. And I like the fact that, you know what I'm saying, they had Ish Smith last year. Like, they had a lot of veteran leadership. Like, Jeff Green last year. This year, you don't really see, like, the only vet that they have is DeAndre that's been in the league.
Yeah, got rid of Bruce Brown that we talked about, my guy from Miami or whatever, who was a defender and sharpshooter, but they've not dropped off.
Hold on. Bruce leaves Denver to sign with Indiana, and Indiana trades him in the middle of the season.
What are we talking about here? So I mean,
That's
yeah,
crazy, right?
yeah. I like I said. I mean, I'm going to watch the games. I'm going to see it all play out. You know, anything can happen in a 7-game series. You know, but at the same time, with 7 games, you know who the teams are. You know, you might have a team steal one here and there, but let me ask you this: are the Knicks for real, or is this just a overmatched opponent they're playing, or whatever like that? Are the Knicks like a true 2 seed, or what's going on there, in your opinion?
Are they a true 2?
Yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
they're.
they look like they escaped against Philadelphia, and I heard what's his name was crying about the calls or something there. But
Um, do I think they are a true 2 seed? The New York Knicks. Yeah, I do. I love what their trio of Villanova players: Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, and Dante DiVincenzo.
it's
Uh,
crazy, just
any,
nuts that they're all there.
white dude named Dante, I'd
Jim-
be fearful of. Like, yeah, he can hoop. Like Dante DiVincenzo, he's like the X factor. And then I like the Miles McBride kid too.
Yeah,
Came
yeah.
up big. Um,
They made a great trade. They made a great trade.
then with OG Anobi, you got OG Anobi, you got McBride. I like what they got bringing out. I like off their bench. Do I think that they can make a run? Here's my thing: New York, if the Knicks make a run, the Rangers in hockey make a run.
They'd love it. Those markets, they would love it. The TV would blow up.
It's no, I'm serious. Like the longer New York teams play in the playoffs is better for the media and the coverage because it's the epicenter. Like New
Hmm.
York, any New York or LA team that goes further and further in the hockey and NBA on that landscape is bringing more eyes and attention to those areas because of those. There's a big metropolitan areas.
It's true, and I'll say this: they would salivate at a New York Boston series, Yankees, you know, Red Sox slash Knicks versus Celtics. I mean, they would love that
They would
stuff.
love it. Like if you get a Knicks Celtics play,
Eastern Conference Finals. Oh yeah,
oh my god, they'd salivate over that
yeah.
because it's two like historic franchises. New York ain't won a title since '73.
Phil
Boston,
Jackson was on that team, right? Phil Jackson was on that team, so yeah.
Bill Jackson was on both those teams, both
Wow,
both title teams.
wow, and that was when they were the Knickerbockers. They weren't. It wasn't just the Knicks; they were the Knickerbockers.
They're still the New York Knickerbockers.
But they just have always called them the Knicks or something like
Always the
that.
Knicks. They're still the New York Knickerbockers. They're just the Knicks. Like
What would be crazy if New York did get to the finals? It would be the 25th anniversary of when the Ewingless Knicks made the finals with Jeff Van Gundy. That they
99.
got beat by the Spurs. You know, Spurs were amazing that year. That was David Robinson's first. But yeah, you know, so it's 25 years, man. 25 years. It's crazy to me, man. 25 years. So yeah.
Yeah, it's 5 years since '99. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a few more things that I wanted to give a shout out to the West Rebel teams or what have you. Tonight, you'll love hearing this and so forth because anytime they can get a nice big win, it's always nice to talk about. But the Rebels baseball team last night beat William Blunt at William Blunt 8-6. So good for them. They've got
Yeah.
another game tomorrow night, and then they've got one on Friday. But the team that really has done very well, kind of becoming the de facto Blunt County champs. West Rebels soccer. They beat Maryville 2-1 last night, and tonight they played William Blunt and blanked them 6-0. Our guy Julio had another hat trick and so forth, 3 goals, and so that was pretty awesome. So yeah, yeah,
Shout
but
out to who?
Yeah, yeah. No, so shout out to the soccer team. They got a game against Oak Ridge on Thursday night at West, and if you're an alumni, it's free admission. Just to let everybody know. So yeah, that's what they were pushing. So yeah. Well, two pair. Let me ask you this, man. Anything else? We talked about Anderson and going to Wofford. We wish him the best of luck. We talked a little hoops and some NIL transfer portal stuff.
Been a
Talked about.
draft.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. Anybody? Okay, let me ask you this: who's your team in NFL? I don't know if you've ever mentioned it.
I have the same two teams that I've had since Tecmo Super Bowl.
Okay.
They are the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC and the Atlanta Falcons in the NFC. I've had two teams.
Gotcha. Okay. I've had love for the Dolphins, obviously being from Miami. I'm a Miami guy. But the Titans, I love the Titans, and they were horrible last year, just awful. And
They
it's
stink.
like they
Oh,
stink. They stink.
They're
And
gonna
it's like
they're gonna draft Alt though. I think they'll get Alt. I see Alt from Notre Dame, the tackle. I see him going to Tennessee. I feel like Tennessee's they got to start this thing over
yeah,
again.
they do. The whole rebuild.
Started again. Like it's like, damn, don't y'all get tired of rebuilding? You had an identity.
And two pair, they got this beautiful stadium that they're building, this indoor thing that's going to host WrestleMania in a couple of years. Being built for what? They don't even deserve the stadium they have now. It seems like they're just. It's
I
awful.
love the stadium they have now. It was just they should have made it. They could have just got a dome. This just could have expanded the stadium they have now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like redo the stadium you have now.
And those fans are loyal too. They show up to watch that horrible product. I mean, they really did. I mean, it's awful.
Oh, Tennessee shows up for the Titans.
They do. They do. I mean, I watch them at 1:00 on Sundays or 4:00 whenever they get put on. So yeah.
I could never. I was never like a huge. I couldn't be a huge Titans fan because, I never really felt like they're my team because they're really Houston's team. You know what I'm saying? Like they're really Houston's team. But now that the Texans are doing so well, it's like they ain't won't claim that shit no more. They said we got to see that round. You guys got to see.
Yeah, well, and Shane has a point. Nashville wanted the new stadium to host a Super Bowl. They're going to get WrestleMania. Triple H has already promised that WrestleMania 43 in 2027. So maybe they might even host a Final Four. You never know, and so forth like that with a new stadium.
Yeah, shoot, if it's in Nashville, I gotta go. You know what I'm saying?
I'm already done. I'm already going. You can tag along. I'm already going. Yeah. I'm taking a full week off to enjoy all the festivities of the WrestleMania, the cons, the 2-night thing. It's done. So you can tag along.
I gotta take off for that because if it's in Nashville,
it's in Nashville, and it's going to be, I guess, April, that first weekend of April in 2027. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, in terms of the draft, have they said who is going to be the number one pick? Is it going to be the LSU quarterback, or is it going to be the USC quarterback?
It'd probably be Caleb Williams.
Caleb, yeah.
9 times out of 10. I mean, he's the best player in the draft.
Yeah.
He
won games by himself last year on a bad team. He really did.
His team was very bad.
Horrible.
Like they must threw him all the NIL money because they ain't had nothing. Like, I'm sorry.
They're gonna get a rude awakening.
Him and his wide receivers.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brendan Rice, who I can't wait to see what he'll be in the National Football League.
I'll tell you this. Speaking of USC, with all these guys gone now, they're going to have fun in the Big Ten next year. They really the hell are. I think that of the 4 teams going, UCLA, of course, had to find a new coach, but I think that Oregon is the best set to go to the Big Ten because USC looks like they're rebuilding, and UCLA and Washington are doing new coaches. So that's unbelievable. So,
Yeah.
I hope that the guys that get drafted, I wish them luck because it's a special night, and we've seen so many good players, but we've also seen a lot of guys that were busts, and so forth. So and it's crazy. Back in our day, the draft used to be on Saturday and Sunday, and it was like an all-day thing. And now they've done it like on 3 separate days: Thursday, Friday, and Saturday is the new norm. So
yeah, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The first round is typically done Thursday. The first round is done the first night.
Mhm. Are they still rotating cities? Because I thought that was a cool idea, even though it used to be New York was the main staple, and
Yeah,
now they're
it
rotating.
this
So.
city last year to be Detroit this year.
Okay.
Yeah, Kansas City. I like the way they had it at Kansas City. I like the way they had it at Kansas City. I would love to see it. I'd love to see it in. I love to see it in places where, like the big metropolis cities. You know what I mean? I would love. They had it in Nashville.
They did. It was awesome. It was awesome
Yeah,
on TV. Yeah.
yeah, it looked great. I'm mad I didn't get to go to that one because that's the one time I could have went.
I'm surprised they haven't gone to Miami yet. Have they done Miami? Because that would be amazing in
No,
Miami.
Miami.
Spring, April, warm outside. I mean, in the city and all that.
That might be the next stop. Would be either Miami, LA.
Has to be. Has to be.
I like Houston too. I think
Yeah.
Houston would be a nice city too. Houston,
Yeah.
would be a great city.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so I'm kind of shocked by that, honestly, that they haven't hit those markets yet. But maybe they're just kind of just still seeing how it goes. Shane has a great point. I don't know if Williams adapts to the pro skill sets there, but mentally, I don't think he has it. He's a very emotional player, and if things aren't going good, he it can get in your head. So I agree with that. I agree with that too completely. So if it were me, I'd pick Jaden Daniels. I like that guy. I mean, I'm not an LSU fan. Jaden Daniels. Woof.
Didn't have any help defensively.
Oh,
Like he puts up the points though.
yeah. I mean, dude, like Florida State's defense when they were healthy, I mean, geez, I mean, he really kept LSU in that game. I mean, by
He
himself.
LSU in a lot of games when they beat Missouri.
Oh
It
yeah.
was Jaden Daniels.
Oh, of course he gives off a diva mentality.
Oh, divas.
How ballsy is it that I want half the team if you draft me? Like I'm gonna own half the team. I'm like, you ain't Dan Marino or anybody like that. Like what are you talking about here? Joe Montana? So
They're
shoot.
all prima donnas, man. They're all prima donnas.
Yeah.
Another guy, I like the kid. I want to say he's from Toledo, Quinyon Mitchell, the
Yes.
cornerback. Yeah, I like Quinyon Mitchell. Quinyon Mitchell. I like a lot of the defensive players in this draft. This defense
Hmm.
players in this draft. I think Dallas Turner might be the first one off the board. As far as like linebackers go, I think he'll be the first one off the board.
He should be. So,
I
is there
like
any big bruising running backs? Like, remember how running backs used to be talked about, and now it's like everybody waits to the second or third round for those guys.
yeah,
So.
the running back position. I didn't see like I don't know. It's so underutilized in the league. Like I mean, yeah, you still have your guys, but like, is Blake Corum gonna go in the first round of the NFL draft? No. I mean, a guy like Xavier Worthy, who ran crazy as a wide receiver, definitely could be kick return, punt return if you're running 4-1s. He definitely in conversation.
Brock Bowers,
The
tight end,
two,
will probably be picked before any running back.
you know,
Yeah.
I'd love to see Brock Bowers in San Diego or Indianapolis.
Harbaugh would draft him. I know he would. So.
Harbaugh would draft him. Um, I don't like this whole JJ McCarthy thing. Like,
Awful.
what if he goes to like Denver?
You know,
Denver's quarterback room is horrible.
it is. But
Zach Wilson,
yeah, yeah.
that quarterback room. They got Jared Stidham, Zach Wilson. That is a horrible quarterback room.
It's awful. It's awful. Who did the Jets get? I know the Jets got rid of. Who did they get? Like, is it just are they all throwing on Rodgers or what? So
they got a 6th rounder for Zach Wilson.
Okay, so well,
yeah, I don't. It's gonna be. I don't get why Chicago traded Justin Fields to Pittsburgh. Like, are they so sure that Caleb Williams is going to be a franchise-changing quarterback?
I think at this point, man, this is a loser franchise. I hate to say this. This is a loser franchise that hasn't been relevant since Walter Payton and those guys were there in the 80s, with all due respect. You know what I mean? They had that one year that they got to the Super Bowl with Lovey and so forth and Devin Hester and all that. But this is a loser franchise that is picking quarterbacks every couple of years thinking they're the next coming. Mitch Trubisky. I mean, and they're flopping. I mean, they're not doing anything with them. I think Justin Fields is a great quarterback, has the potential, but you drove that man crazy to get out of there. He was that depressed. And this is a guy that led Ohio State to a national title.
He's one of the guys.
Yeah.
Like, when you look at him across the field, you barely supplied a man with talent.
No, there were no – I couldn't name you one receiver that played for the Bears. I can't name you one player for the Bears. When you do your fantasy draft, are you like looking for Bears football players? Hell no, you weren't. Honestly. So, yeah.
Like, you give him DJ Moore. You finally give him Keenan Allen. Then you give him Keenan Allen. You give him DeAndre Swift. And then you trade him. You trade. Fuck. It's stupid.
Yeah, Chicago's turning into Cleveland with the quarterback movement. I agree with that. Shane's got a question for you real quick. Who takes the quarterback job with the Steelers?
Russell Wilson.
You're going to give it to him first, you think? So, yeah. I think Russell needed a change of scenery, and I think it'd be interesting to see, where that goes and so forth. So, because I think it had run its course with Denver. So, yeah.
I don't even know. And when Shane says that about the running back position, I don't even know who the top running back is.
I don't. Not this year. Not this year. I'll tell you this about the running back position, which is really crazy. It seems like when you're drafting running backs, you need touchdowns, you need points, but there's like 3 or 4 guys by committee, and you need to hope that you get the guy that, gets you more touchdowns or points, but it's not consistent. There's not a workhorse back anymore in the league. There just isn't. Derrick Henry's the last of that breed. Everybody's running back by committee now, 3 or 4 guys that tote the rock. So
yeah,
McCaffrey can't really do it by himself in the 49ers. He can't. So,
no.
Yeah. So
you see what the 49ers do. They're using the damn fullback. They're using Jusic.
Yep. They're even having Debo with running and under rounds and all that stuff. I mean, So, like I said, I know everything changes and nothing stays the same and blah blah blah. But it just, at least we have that memory of what it used to be. And gone are the days where who's going first, Ricky Williams or Edgerrin James or Kajana Carter or Rashawn Salam, and those dudes back in the day. And
you don't see that anymore.
Eddie George, you don't see that. You don't see that no
more. Like when you look at the standout running backs, who's the standout running back in college this year that you were like, I don't even know who won the Doak Walker Award this year.
I don't know either. I mean, obviously, who you looked at. You would look at either Georgia, Ohio State, or Alabama. Their running backs always seem to get drafted, and there's always like 2 or 3 guys in that room. I know Florida State had a nice running back this past year, but he was a transfer from somewhere. That's the other thing too. It's hard to keep up with some of these guys because they transfer from other schools and blow up and everything. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's wild.
Yeah. Well, 2Pair, that's all I got. It's been a great show. Do you want to just send us out, brother, and see what we got? So
yeah, you know what it is. Love, Piece of Chicken Grease. Another show, another cause, but it's Rebels with a cause. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here. Throw your dubs up if you's a winner. chicken dinner.
Because that's all we do, baby, is win, 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 and we stay there.
That's
We
it.
out.
We
Thanks
out.
for tuning in.